Now, let's dive into the Utah Concealed Firearm Permit. What are some common reasons why people want to get a gun license? Number one, they like that reciprocity for traveling with their firearm. And if you're a Utah resident, that standard permit is going to be good in 37 states, which is pretty good. Gun owners also want to be responsible and receive adequate training for safety and responsibility of carrying a gun. And believe it or not, I can say as a law enforcement officer that this looks favorably by police when you are contacted and you are armed and you have that firearms permit card to show with your driver's license. It just helps that traffic stop go a lot smoother. They don't need to wonder if you're a restricted person or things like that, because if you've got a valid license that they can verify at the time of your stop, it just doesn't leave really any questions that they may have. The permit also allows you to have loaded long guns, that is rifles and shotguns, in your vehicle. And you save a whopping $7.50 on a background check when you go to purchase a handgun with that permit. We talked about the reciprocity for the standard permit when you're Utah residents of 37 states, but if you buy the non-resident permit, that is good in 31 states. Utah has a provisional firearm permit for those 18 to 20-year-olds, and I believe that is good in 19 states at this time. Utah Criminal Code Title 53-5-708 protects permit holders, their confidential information. It is against the law for people that are not law enforcement officers to disclose name, addresses, date of birth, and phone numbers of firearms permit holders to other entities. And that would be a Class A misdemeanor. And requests for those records, if they're not law enforcement officers looking for that permit information, that would be subject to a GRAMA records request. And so that is a Government Records Access Management Act request that you would have to go through. The following states have entered into a reciprocity agreement with the state of Utah for this gun license. And so I'm going to read the states that honor the standard Utah residential permit. The Utah permit is good in Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Some of these aforementioned states that I just listed will only honor the Utah permit if you are a Utah resident. And those states are Colorado, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Maine, New Hampshire, and Florida. Permit holders should always contact the state that they're going to be traveling in with their gun license to confirm their state's laws. If you're going to travel with your firearm outside of the state of Utah, you need to know what their laws are. They're all going to be different. The laws that we're going to be talking about are laws in the state of Utah, okay? I'll get you squared away on those laws. But if you travel out of state, you do need to know what their individual laws are because they can vary a great degree. The only thing that the Utah Concealed Firearm Permit allows you to do is to carry a concealed firearm in your vehicle and in public. That's all that reciprocity does. The Utah Provisional Concealed Firearm Permit for those 18 to 20-year-olds is recognized, as I mentioned earlier, in 19 states as of September 2024. The 18 to 20-year-olds under the provisional permit cannot carry into K-12 schools, preschool grounds, or child care facilities. Public colleges are okay. For example, the University of Utah is a public college of higher education, and that would be allowed if you've got the firearm permit. Some states also do not honor the provisional firearm permit. And so you need to check with each state with your traveling. And you do that through the website called bci.utah.gov, G-O-V. And if you choose concealed firearm permits, and then you choose a tab that says states that honor the permit, you will see a green and blue chart that will tell you which states there is a reciprocity agreement in with Utah. What is needed to apply for my Utah Concealed Firearm Permit application, and what can I expect in my Utah class? First of all, when you get here to our class, we're going to hand you a Utah Concealed Firearms Permit application. If you want to fill this out online, you're more than welcome to do that and bring it to class. It'll save a little bit of time. But it's just going to ask for personal information. It's going to have a criminal history section. It's going to ask you if you've been convicted of certain crimes. If you answer yes, you need to explain on the back approximately when and where it happened, what the court disposition and what the charges were, and then they can find that during the background check and take a look at that. This section right here, where this little white box is, don't fill in this at all. This is for me to fill out, and I'm going to put my stamp that you took the class, and I'll date it when you were here. You're going to sign and date. And then on the bottom of the application, BCI will charge you $53.25 for a 5-year license. That has nothing to do with our training. We only contract with the state of Utah to provide your class, but if you want that 5-year license, the state of Utah wants $53.25 out of you. If you're a non-resident applying for the non-resident license, that fee is $63.25. If you are a teacher, you don't have to pay that fee of $53.25. That fee is going to be waived, and that was done through the legislature. You'll just need to bring a copy of your teacher ID, and we can make a copy of that and attach it to your application. That'll save you a little bit of money. Also, if you're active duty military, you and your spouses have that $53.25 fee waived if you're stationed here in Utah. Some other entities that the fee is waived for the license. If you are a federal or local or state law enforcement officer and your primary duties are detection and enforcement of criminal statutes and law enforcement, including arrests. For example, your police officer, deputy sheriff, state police, things like that. Law enforcement officers like that do not have to pay that fee. And so that would exclude corrections officers and things like that. That would just be for your full-fledged law enforcement officers that have that status. You will also need to get a letter of good standing from your commanding officer as a law enforcement officer in order to get that fee waived. And you could bring that to the class, and we can make that a lot easier for you. What's needed with this application after you filled it out? We will need a copy of your driver's license from your state. If you're applying for the non-resident license, then you will need to bring a copy of your home state permit. You will also need a passport-style photo, which we can do at the time of the class for a fee of $15. You will need one fingerprint card, one set of FBI fingerprints, and we will have somebody here at the class to take those fingerprints for you. That fee is $15. And on the fingerprint card, you're going to fill out these yellow highlighted areas here. The first area is your signature, and then it's going to ask for your last name, middle name, first name. It's going to ask whether you're a U.S. citizen or not. It's going to ask for your physical description, sex, race, height, weight, eye color, hair color, place of birth. And then you're going to put your social security number down here in the last box. And during the class, we will call you up one at a time. You're going to wash and dry your hands, and we are going to take your fingerprinting and your photos if you need that done. If you were born outside of the United States, but you're a legal resident, you will need to bring a copy of a U.S. passport, a green card, or other acceptable documentation, which you can find on page 1 of the Concealed Firearm Permit application. If you are not a U.S. citizen, you will need to be documented. Such as an I-94 and a hunting license in order to get a concealed firearm permit, or some other authorization such as Attorney General approval from Utah or other acceptable form of documentation. I want to emphasize, you must legally be able in Utah and through federal law to legally possess and own a handgun under state and federal law in order to get a gun license. Now, once we've done your 4-hour class, we've done everything we described, BCI is going to receive your application, okay? We can drop those off for you, or you're welcome to mail them in, whatever you'd like to do. And BCI will take about 60 days from the date they charge your credit card to mail you your license. So it usually takes about 2.5 months with all that to get that done. So look on your bank statement, and once BCI has charged your fee of that $53.25 that we mentioned earlier, that is a sign that they have actually picked up your application and they are starting the background process, and they have 60 days. If it hasn't arrived within 60 days, please don't call us, call BCI. Actually, they prefer emails at dpsfirearms@utah.gov. That's Delta Papa Sierra firearms@utah.gov, G-O-V. Their phone number is 801-965-4445 if you'd like to call them to talk to them. But please, make sure the 60 days has passed after your credit card has been charged. So now let's talk about renewing the standard or the provisional firearm permits. In order to renew it, you will need to watch a suicide prevention video that is done by the Utah Department of Public Safety, and I will put a link in the comments of where you can watch that video. Very useful. I would recommend that you watch it before you go up for renewal. I'd watch it right away. You could go watch it after all these videos if you'd like. But once you've done that, you can renew in person, online, or by mail. And for the standard renewal, that is for everybody over 21, that renewal will need to be done within 12 months of it expiring. If it goes 365 days expired, you have to start all over again. If you renew it up to 364 days, you just have to pay a late fee of $7.50. You will need to pay a renewal fee of $20, and that will renew it for an additional 5 years. You can renew your license 90 days before it expires. You will need a new photo, and you fill out the renewal application for the permit, and we can take care of those renewals. If you're in Salt Lake and you want to drop by a class, we can do the photo, and we have these renewal applications here, and we just charge you $15 for that renewal cost. Active duty military, renewal fee is waived. I think we mentioned that earlier. The provisional renewal, the provisional is for the 18 to 20-year-olds. You can renew a provisional 60 days before you turn 21 years old, and that fee is only $10. And then you will need to also attach a copy of your provisional firearm permit. That is evidence that you've taken a Utah class already. And you will need a copy of your driver's license. You will need another photo. And that application, if you're looking for it online, is the application to switch. This is a great refresher course if you're already licensed to carry. The state of Utah requires instructors to provide their students a copy of the Utah BCI Minimum Training Curriculum, or a link to BCI's website where you can find the curriculum is also acceptable as of November 2022. We like to send you an actual link from BCI's website because then you will know that you have received the most up-to-date training curriculum, which can change every other year or so. Once your background application, your concealed firearm permit application is turned into BCI, they will do an FBI background check on you with those fingerprint cards. And they're going to check state and local and federal warrants in your criminal history. And there are certain disqualifiers that will prohibit you from getting a gun license, and that will be in another video out of those 5 videos that we talked about in the course. A concealed firearm permit can be suspended, revoked, or denied for convictions of certain crimes. And if they do that, they're going to give you notice through certified mail. You would get a certified letter. And if you disagreed with it, you could appeal the decision within 60 days, and BCI would have 30 days to render a decision. The decision would be heard and made by a 5-member board consisting of 1 law enforcement officer and private citizens appointed by the DPS commissioner. Let's talk about constitutional carry law. No permit is required to carry a pistol, either openly or concealed, and you can even have it loaded on public streets and in your vehicle. If you are older than 21 years old and you are not restricted by federal or state law from owning or possessing a firearm. Under constitutional carry, you cannot carry in K through 12 schools. You cannot carry within 1,000 feet of a school zone unless it's in your home. Your home is located within 1,000 feet of that school, that is okay. Also, if you are driving through the school zone under constitutional carry, you're in your vehicle, that would also be okay and not against federal law because Utah law allows you to do that and they would supersede that requirement. You can also, under constitutional carry, are not allowed to carry in federal parks without a license. Under new Utah law, if you can lawfully own and possess a handgun, you cannot be prohibited from keeping a firearm in your place of residence, your place of business, or in your vehicle, lawfully in your possession, or carrying in somebody else's vehicle that has lawful possession of that vehicle and has given you permission to carry. No permit or license is required to purchase, own, or possess firearms. No requirement to register firearms within the state of Utah. No permit is needed if all you are going to do is to possess a firearm in these areas, your vehicle, your home, or your place of business. Hope that helps you out well. That is video number 1 on the Utah Concealed Carry course.